Live. WECT News begins now with breaking news.
One man is in serious but stable condition tonight after being shot by a Wilmington police officer. The police tell us he was armed. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Delaney Tarpley. Now this all happened late last night around 11:30. Officers were patrolling around 14th and Nunn Streets when they noticed someone riding a bike with a ski mask on. When they tried to talk to the man, he got off and started running. That's when officers noticed the gun in his hand. While chasing after him, they say he turned around and pointed his gun at them. That's when one officer fired his weapon, striking him at least once in the torso and the leg. The man has been identified as 23-year-old Savion Wilson. He was taken to the hospital where he is in stable condition tonight. Once he recovers, he'll then be taken into custody. He's charged with possession of a firearm by a felon, and police say they also found narcotics at the scene, so he has some narcotics charges as well. Wilmington police say the gun they recovered at the scene had also been altered.
Glock was recovered, or a handgun was recovered, and it was equipped with a Glock switch, which we've kind of talked about in the past. Glock switch, the switch is something you can buy aftermarket and install on your firearm, which effectively, in layman's terms, turns it into a machine gun. It can fire an extraordinarily large amount of rounds in a very, very short period of time.
The officer who fired the shots is on administrative paid leave while the SBI investigates the use of force in this instance. We are told this is normal procedure for situations like this.
Peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. So here we go again. The same song. You just saw the news clipping. A 23-year-old black man was shot by police while running away. And they always have the same story. I don't know how many of these stories I've done that say, yeah, he was running and then he turned around and pointed a gun at the police. I don't know who they think they are. That is the same narrative on I know at least 20 stories that I've done. Fortunately, this young man, Mr. 23-year-old Savion Wilson, did survive. He was only shot, and I say only shot because most of these instances ending up most of the times in unalivement. And the first, if you notice what the lady said, the first thing that she said was a man was shot. Police tell us that he was armed. So what does that automatically do? That automatically diffuses you from the fact that the police shot him. Oh, he was armed, so he needed to be shot. Right? And so this happened in Wilmington, North Carolina. Now, about last month, I went down and did a little bit of research on the Wilmington race riot. If you don't know about that, you can watch that previous video. But here the police say that they are patrolling on 14th and Nunn Street. Now, I don't know what that is. I'm not from Wilmington, but I'm pretty sure that it is a black neighborhood. And they encountered Mr. Wilson, Mr. Savion Wilson. And he was riding a bike with a ski mask on, they say. Now, I don't know if you've seen a lot of people these days are wearing the ski mask. When it's cold, they have the full facial mask. I don't know if he had the old school one with that goes over your face and the eyes out. Either way, it's December the 28th. Very cold outside. And so why would having a ski mask on at 11:30 riding a bike be considered suspicious, right? So nevertheless, they begin to follow the young man. They said they followed him and tried to approach him. Then he starts running. And when he said, you know, the narrative, he was running and they tell him they notice a gun in pitch black in pitch black night, right? And you'll hear him say how dark it is, right? They notice the gun in pitch black night, and they say, "Hey, drop the gun," but he keeps running. And then they said, as officers was chasing him, Wilson turned around with the gun, and then they fired shots. At least 2 striking him once in the torso, so he's actually happy to be alive, blessed to be alive, and also once in the leg. And this is their justification. Look at what this officer says. Any reasonable police officer knows something's not right, Lieutenant Greg Willett said, the same guy that you saw on the video. You know, we've got a guy wearing a ski mask around, no light, right? So how do you know he had a gun, supposedly? Kind of trying to lay low, running with the gun. That's something we have to investigate for public safety. Mr. Wilson turned around, and based on his body language, you know how officers react, how they're trained to react. Notice what he says, how they're trained to react. They are trained to execute at the slightest little bit. And once again, I've ran from the police. I've actually ran with the police from the police with a gun before. My goal was to try to get the guns and the narcotics off of me, so I won't be charged with those. And that's probably why this young man was running. Hey, if he had a gun, but I know I got some narcotics on me, so let me go ahead and try, there go the police, let me get away from them, right? And so the fact that he had narcotics is also being sensationalized in this article, in this news clip. Yeah, he was found, he was taken to the hospital, and he faces gun charges. Also, he had some narcotics on him. What does that do? That further implicates him as a criminal. Now, once again, having an illegal gun, they said he was a felon, so he doesn't supposed to have a gun. That is a crime. Having narcotics is a crime. So I don't in no way justify possessing illegal weapons or illegal substances. However, just the fact that you have those things doesn't make you an automatic candidate for target practice. And that's what we have seen on so many occasions. They come with this same old narrative all around the world, same song. Digital Underground, Tupac, if you haven't remember that. But then to vilify my guy even more, they say, well, yeah, his gun, it had a switch on it. And, evidently a switch is some way you can modify your gun to make it shoot more rapidly. But again, what does that do? Oh, that further criminalizes him. Oh, yeah, his gun can fire multiple rounds in a very short time. What does that do? That once again, okay, this guy is a dangerous. He has a gun. He has narcotics. He has a switch. Oh, no question. There's no question about this. Yeah, this guy that shooting was justified. And so you have to watch how these narratives are being framed. Once again, as Malcolm said, if you're not careful, the media will have you thinking that the criminals are the victims and the victims are the criminal. And fortunately, once again, this young man survived. He's in stable condition, as they said. And the officer, what is he going to get? He's going to get a paid vacation. I really think that some of these officers like, man, shoot, if I go ahead and, get a justified shooting, man, I can get 6 months off. Go to IAD, talk to the therapist, I'm shook up. I'm not quite ready to return, but I'm going to get paid. They're literally getting paid time off every time that they have one of these incidents. And if you look at the picture of the young man, how they have it framed, they make him look all malicious. and criminalistic. That's not a word, I just made it up. But man, this just disturbs me, how they can continue with that same old narrative. Oh, he had a gun, he was running, then he just automatically turns around at the police. Nobody does that. So how all of a sudden, that I don't know, or am I tripping, or is this something that the new generation does? Because when people running from the police with guns, they're not going to just stop and automatically point it at. They have to come up with a better narrative. Hey, he had a gun, we knew we could get a free one in. Just say that. Just stop lying to us in our face, right? But Wilmington does have a black police chief. I think his name is Williams or something like that. And that's another thing that we've been covering throughout these stories, in which you have to be careful with a black police chief or black sheriff, or black mayor, because then it becomes, okay, well, oh no, there's nothing to see here. It couldn't be racially motivated, because look, the chief is black, the mayor is black, the sheriff is black, but these incidents, once again, are patrolling, and you have to go back to what? The slave patrols. These people are patrolling black neighborhoods, looking for black suspects or black people. Let's just say that. Malcolm X just laid it perfectly when he said the police can come into the black neighborhoods and use Gestapo tactics. And they can arrest and they can treat everybody like a criminal, whether you're a businessman, whether you are just getting off of work, as you've seen the story about the guy who was in Pennsylvania, who was trying to help the off-duty cop, and he had on his roadside vest. He got unalived. And so there definitely some training, whether it's social engineering training, psychological training, or direct training by the police. Like somebody pointed out, those targets that they shoot at, they are what? All black. What my man doing the meme. So, something is psychological. It is designed to work that way. And so our young brothers, we do have to be careful not to put ourselves in those positions. Hey, if you know you dirty, if you know you got the gun, that's why, all right, you got me. Fortunately, this brother did live, so that's one bright side to the story. But we definitely have to be careful about, how we put in the positions that we put ourselves in, because once again, we see it is open season, and as many people feel when Trump's getting in office, it's going to be worse, or qualified immunity, whatever that means, because once again, as I always say, they've always had it. Look throughout the recent years. In the past, the police have never, hardly ever been convicted of unaliving unarmed people or even armed people. And so take this into consideration. Just be watchful out there. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. 919-587-7782. Peace and blessings.
From local stories to Wayne County news, get ready to dive into everything happening in North Carolina with Taylor House Publishing. Got a story to share? Shoot us an email at taylorpublishinghouse@gmail.com. If you're looking to publish your book or need some top-notch mentorship, we've got your back. Join the excitement with the one and only Richard Taylor, right here at Taylor House Publishing. Speak with Richard directly at 919-587-7782. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and invite your family and friends to watch.
From Wayne County to the Carolina coast, Taylor House brings the news you love most. Tune in on YouTube, don't miss a beat. Local stories that keep you in your feet.
Taylor House, we got the scoop. Taylor House Publishing.